A Course in Miracles audio lessons. Lesson 196. It can be but myself I crucify. Paragraph 1. When this is firmly understood and kept in full awareness, you will not attempt to harm yourself, nor make your body slave to vengeance. You will not attack yourself, and you will realize that to attack another is but to attack yourself. You will be free of the insane belief that to attack a brother saves yourself, and you will understand his safety is your own, and in his healing you are healed. Paragraph 2. Perhaps at first you will not understand how mercy, limitless, and with all things held in its sure protection, can be found in the idea we practice for today. It may, in fact, appear to be a sign that punishment can never be escaped, because the ego, under what it sees as threat, is quick to cite the truth to save its lies. We have a footnote that reads, William Shakespeare, the Merchant of Venice, the devil can cite scripture for his purpose. This is also shown on the text, chapter 5, section 8, paragraph 2 and line 3. Here, the ego interprets, it can be but myself I crucify to mean, my attacks on my brothers will forever condemn me to crucifixion, figuratively speaking, as God's punishment for those attacks. End of footnote. Yet, must it fail to understand the truth it uses thus. But you can learn to see those foolish applications and deny the meaning they appear to have. We have a footnote that reads, This means that you can learn to spot the ways in which the ego would misinterpret the Course and refuse to be taken in by them. This will teach you, as the next sentence says, that you are not an ego. End of footnote. Paragraph 3. Thus, do you also teach your mind that you are not an ego, for the ways in which the ego would distort the truth will not deceive you longer. You will not believe you are a body to be crucified, and you will see within today's idea the light of resurrection, looking past all thoughts of crucifixion and of death to thoughts of liberation and of life. Paragraph 4. Today's idea is one step we take in leading us from bondage to the state of perfect freedom. Let us take this step today, that we may quickly go the way salvation shows us, taking every step in its appointed sequence as the mind relinquishes its burdens one by one. It is not time we need for this. It is but willingness. And what would seem to need 1,000 years can easily be done in just one instant by the grace of God. And we have a footnote that reads, this may be an allusion to the second letter of Peter, chapter 3, verse 8 in the Bible. But do not ignore this one fact, beloved, that with the Lord 1 day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years as 1 day. If so, the Course appears to reframe the Bible verse. That verse is an answer to those who say that the Lord is slow in coming. The answer is that God is not bound by human time. What for us is 1,000 years of waiting is only a day to the Lord. In the above sentence, the fact that God is not bound by human time means that we don't have to wait. The progress that might have taken 1,000 years can be accomplished in an instant. End of footnote. Paragraph 5. The dreary, hopeless thought that you can make attacks on others and escape yourself has nailed you to the cross. Perhaps it seems to be salvation, yet it merely stands for the belief the fear of God is real. We have a footnote that reads, when you believe that you can make attacks on others and escape yourself, for example, that your attacks on others are not attacks on yourself, and thus have no immediate effect on you, you will also believe that God will eventually catch up with you to pay you back for your crimes. That is why the first belief is the affirmation that the fear of God is real. End of footnote. And what is that but hell? Who could believe his father is his deadly enemy, separate from him and waiting to destroy his life and blot him out from the universe without the fear of hell upon his heart? Paragraph 6. Such is the form of madness you believe if you accept the fearful thought you can attack another and be free yourself. Until this form is changed, there is no hope. And we have a footnote that reads, in the previous sentence, the form of madness is your belief that God is your deadly enemy, as shown on paragraph 5, line 4, waiting to pay you back for attacking others while remaining free yourself. However, in this sentence, the form, quote unquote, seems to have switched. Now, this form, quote unquote, seems to refer to the idea from the end of the previous sentence. The fearful thought you can attack another and be free yourself, quote unquote. This means that the rest of the paragraph is about this fearful thought, about going from accepting it and thinking it true, which entails not perceiving its foolishness or even its presence, to questioning it and ultimately seeing that it is entirely impossible, quote unquote. End of footnote. Until you see that this, at least, must be entirely impossible, how could there be escape? The fear of God is real to anyone who thinks this thought is true, and he will not perceive its foolishness or even see that it is there, so that it would be possible to question it. Paragraph 7. To question it at all, its form must first be changed at least as much as will permit fear of retaliation to abate, and the responsibility returned to some extent to you. We have a footnote that reads, its form must first be changed, quote unquote, means that you need to go from believing that you can attack others and escape the immediate consequences yourself, only to be paid back by God later, to believing that attack on others includes within it your own attack on yourself. You need, in other words, to go from believing the form of today's idea that the ego promotes to believing in its real meaning. End of footnote. From there, you can at least consider if you want to go along this painful path. Until this shift has been accomplished, you cannot perceive that it is but your thoughts which bring you fear, and your deliverance depends on you. Paragraph 8. Our next steps will be easy if you take this one today. From there, we go ahead quite rapidly. For once you understand it is impossible that you be hurt except by your own thoughts, the fear of God must disappear. And we have a footnote that reads, when you realize that only your own attack thoughts have been crucifying you, you will realize God is not the one who has been crucifying you, and so you will no longer fear him. End of footnote. You do not now believe that fear is caused without, and God, whom you had thought to banish, can be welcomed back within the holy mind he never left. Paragraph 9. Salvation's song can certainly be heard in the idea we practice for today. If it can be but you crucified, You did not hurt the world, and need not fear its vengeance and pursuit, nor need you hide in terror from the deadly fear of God projection hides behind. And we have a footnote that reads, the fear of God, in other words, is not a response to objective reality. Hiding behind it is its real source, your own projection. You have projected onto God your fear of the thing in your own mind that has been crucifying you. What paragraph 11 calls the murderer perceived within you. End of footnote. The thing you dread the most is your salvation. You are strong, and it is strength you want. And you are free and glad of freedom. You have sought to be both weak and bound because you feared your strength and freedom, yet salvation lies in them. Paragraph 10. There is an instant in which terror seems to grip your mind so wholly that escape appears quite hopeless. When you realize once and for all that it is you fear, the mind perceives itself as split. And this had been concealed while you believed attack could be directed outward and returned from outside to within. It seemed to be an enemy outside you had to fear, and thus a God outside yourself became your mortal enemy, the source of fear. Paragraph 11. Now, for an instant, is a murderer perceived within you, eager for your death, intent on plotting punishment for you until the time when it can kill at last. Yet, in this instant is the time as well in which salvation comes. For fear of God has disappeared, and you can call on Him to save you from illusions in His love, calling Him Father and yourself His Son. Pray that the instant may be soon, today. Step back from fear and make advance to love. Paragraph 12. There is no thought of God that does not go with you to help you reach that instant and to go beyond it quickly, surely, and forever. When the fear of God is gone, there are no obstacles which still remain between you and the holy peace of God. How kind and merciful is the idea we practice. Give it welcome, as you should, for it is your release. It is indeed but you your mind can try to crucify, yet your redemption too will come from you. End of lesson 196. It can be but myself I crucify. Enjoy your practice.